Every time there are headlines about Mexico, people start asking the same question. Is it safe to take a cruise to Mexico? Whether you're sailing to Cabo, Mazatlán, Puerto Vallarta, La Paz, Cozumel, or Costa Maya, safety is usually the number one concern, especially for families. So let's talk about it. We cruise to Mexico regularly. We travel with our kids, and if we genuinely felt it wasn't safe, we wouldn't go. In fact, we're heading there in just a couple weeks. We're taking a cruise to Mexico, and it will be visiting Puerto Vallarta. Today I want to break down how cruise safety actually works, why cruise ports are different from what you see in the news, and what you should expect when visiting Mexico on a cruise. Mexico is a huge country. When there are security operations, cartel activity, or political headlines, they are almost always localized events, but national headlines don't usually explain geography. Cruise ports like Cabo, Mazatlán, Puerto Vallarta, La Paz, Cozumel, and Costa Maya are heavily dependent on tourism. Tourism is their economy. That means visible police presence, federal coordination, tourism security zones, and extra monitoring when ships are in port. And here's something important to keep in mind. If there is even a small safety concern, cruise lines will reroute. That's one of the biggest built-in protections of cruise travel. When you cruise, you're not independently traveling through random areas. You're arriving during daylight hours. You're not visiting or traveling in the night. You're often participating in organized excursions. You're surrounded by thousands of other passengers, and you're covered by cruise line security protocols. Cruise lines constantly monitor U.S. State Department guidance and local authorities. If something isn't safe, they simply won't dock. Ports sometimes get skipped due to weather, mechanical issues, or congestion, or localized security concerns. And that flexibility is part of the cruise model. And if you really don't feel safe, stay on the ship. You will still have a wonderful time and enjoy everything that ship has to offer. So let's talk about the most common Mexico ports. Cabo San Lucas is one of the most tourism-driven cities in Mexico. Located in the state of Baja California, cruise ships tender directly in the marina area, which is full of restaurants and shops, excursions, boats, fishing boats, water taxis. The tourist zone is compact, active, and full of traffic. Millions of visitors go through the marina every year. And if you feel a little bit uncomfortable, just enjoy the marina and all that it has to offer. Mazatlán has transformed significantly over the years. The cruise port area is controlled and purpose-built for tourism. The Malecón and Historic Center are well-traveled areas with steady visitor traffic. And like anywhere you would travel in the world, just use common sense. Stay in known areas, use reputable transportation, use reputable tour guides like the ones I've mentioned in previous videos. Don't wander into isolated neighborhoods. Cruise passengers, thousands of cruise passengers visit there every week without any issue. Puerto Vallarta is one of the most established tourist cities in Mexico. It has decades of international tourism experience. Yes, the recent headlines are concerning, but having talked to friends who live in Puerto Vallarta, yesterday they enjoyed the beach. It was quieter than usual, and they plan to continue their winter months there in Puerto Vallarta before they head back to the States for the summer months. It's something they do every year, and they've done it for years. The Malecón, Zona Romantica, beach areas, the excursion routes are structured around visitors. Occasionally, ports may be temporarily skipped if there are localized disruptions. Right now, from what I can tell, all cruise lines who are scheduled to visit Puerto Vallarta next week are currently reviewing and have not made a final decision. If they cancel next week, I would expect the week after that things will return to normal and they'll be visiting Puerto Vallarta. La Paz is quiet and more relaxed. It feels less commercial and way more local. It's about 2 hours north of Cabo, offers a slower, much calmer atmosphere, and it's one of the most underrated stops in Baja California and very, very cruise friendly. It's definitely a place to visit if you haven't been before. And Cozumel is one of the busiest cruise ports. Everybody knows Cozumel. It's one of the busiest ports in the entire Caribbean. The port infrastructure is built specifically for cruise passengers with controlled areas, organized transportation, excursion operators, beach clubs, and so forth. Tourism drives that local economy. Millions of people visit Cozumel every year without incident. I exchanged messages with a good friend who works at Mr. Sancho's yesterday, and it was business as usual. They had a great day welcoming cruise ship passengers. Costa Maya also, that's another purpose-built cruise destination. The port complex itself is designed around cruise passengers with shops, pools, restaurants, direct transportation to beach clubs, and excursions. In Costa Maya, security presence is always visible when ships are in town. Just like Cozumel, it's heavily dependent on cruise tourism. We travel with our kids. We don't ignore the risk. We evaluate it. If we really felt like it was unsafe, we wouldn't take the cruise or we would just stay on the ship. Could an itinerary change? Yes, but that's part of cruising anywhere you travel in the world. The built-in flexibility of cruise lines is actually part of what makes it safer than many other forms of travel. No matter where you travel, you stay in the tourist areas, you book reputable excursions, avoid isolated neighborhoods, don't flash valuables, follow local guidance. That applies in Mexico, the Caribbean, Europe, and anywhere you travel in the world. Travel always involves being aware. So is it safe to travel to Mexico? In my opinion, yes. Cruise ports are structured around tourism. Cruise lines actively monitor conditions, and millions of passengers sail these itineraries every year. If something isn't safe, the cruise ship won't dock. The system is designed to protect passengers. And if you have a cruise coming up to Mexico, let me know which ports you're going to be visiting. I'd love to hear some feedback. If you're going to be visiting any of these ports in the coming days and you do visit, let us know down in the description in the comments what your experience was like. And if you want any detailed port guides for any of the ports, Cabo, Mazatlán, Puerto Vallarta, La Paz, Cozumel, Costa Maya, I've linked those below. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, follow along. We cruise a lot, we travel a lot through Europe, the Caribbean, Mexico, and don't be afraid to reach out if you have any questions. Hope you're having a great day, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.